From a little bonus summer break, a trip to the Grand Canyon with John McCain.
There's a place called Phantom Ranch, and they got these little cabins there.
Last week, the president was here with his family. This weekend, McCain's son Jimmy, back from Iraq, joined his dad.
Okay, to have a picture with us, let's put George in the center there, Jimmy.
The senator is holding a series of hearings on how to preserve our national parks with Interior Secretary Ken Salazar and Colorado Senator Mark Udall.
The Udalls,
the McCains, the Udalls,
the McCains, the love for the land, the love for the place, people who work for solutions.
I guess you could say that politics stops at the canyon's edge. But it was clear from our conversation that McCain and Obama still have big differences on most of the big issues, especially health care and the economy. I began by asking McCain to weigh in on the president's war strategy. You just got back from Afghanistan. Earlier this spring, President Obama announced 17,000 more troops and a mission to really take the fight to the Taliban. From what you saw, is it working?
They're taking the fight to the Taliban. It's a very tough fight. They're going into areas that the Taliban have controlled for long periods of times in the south. The casualties are up, as we had unfortunately predicted. But they are taking the fight to them. The military is incredibly good.
And do we have enough troops now from what you saw?
We don't. General McChrystal is going to make some recommendations. I'm not happy with what he's going to do because it's been published it'll be high risk, medium risk, low risk. Whenever you do that, they always pick the medium risk. I think that he ought to do what General Petraeus did, and that's decide on exactly the number he needs, and then we debate it, and the president makes the ultimate decision.
Let me stop you there, though, because I know you were concerned a few weeks ago. Bob Woodward went to Afghanistan with General Jones and wrote a story where it seemed as if General Jones was sending a message to the commanders not to send back a request for more troops. Are you convinced that General McChrystal is completely free to make the best recommendation?
I think there are great pressures on General McChrystal to reduce those estimates, but I have great confidence.
From the president?
No, I don't think it's necessarily from the president. I think it's from the people around him and others, and that I think don't want to see a significant increase in our troop presence there. But I have confidence that he will make his most honest and best recommendations. I just wish it wasn't this three choices, because they always choose the middle one. We need to know exactly what resources he needs.
How do you answer the argument, though, of others who say that adding more troops now to Afghanistan is a fool's errand in nation building, that we can achieve the goal of denying a safe haven to al-Qaeda by letting the Afghan government take the lead and taking them out with drones when necessary?
Well, I say with respect, I understand that argument, but that was the same argument under Rumsfeld and Casey that didn't work. I think the fundamental to success of a counterinsurgency is to clear and hold and secure an environment for people so that the political and economic progress can be made.
That's a 40-year effort, isn't it?
I think within a year to 18 months you could start to see progress. Look, it's very hard. It's very tough. We're facing a very determined enemy that will stand and fight in some instances that are very adaptable, and obviously with safe havens in Pakistan. But as President described it in the campaign, this is good war and one that we have to win. But I think he'll hold to that.
We're seeing now that the American public is turning against the war.
Yes.
The majority now says it's not worth fighting. 2-1, they don't want more troops. The clock is ticking both with the public and Congress. You say 12 to 18 months. What do we need to see in 12 to 18 months to make sure the public and the Congress stay behind this war?
I think you need to see a reversal of these very alarming and disturbing trends on attacks, casualties, areas of the country that the Taliban has increased control of. In other words, you need to see all of those things reversed and on a significant downward slope. And I think we can do that in a year to 18.
If not, should we leave?
I think we have to make decisions as the situation calls for. But we always have to remember that we cannot allow Afghanistan to return to a base for terrorist attacks on the United States and our allies. That's why we went in the first place.
There's a concern that there may be a turning back in Iraq as well. Huge flare-up of violence this week. Did we leave the cities too soon?
I think you could argue that we may have left a bit too soon, but I think it was important in General Odierno's eyes to give them what they wanted. I think there's probably going to be a need for greater American cooperation, particularly as far as some of our technology is concerned.
So go back in?
Not to go back in, but to assist. And for example, after these bombings, Americans have gone in to help, with the damage, etc. But overall, this is an uptick, but one which I think can return to steady progress. We've made an agreement. We're going to have to stick to it at least
by 2011.
And, again, it's like it's definitional, because I think we're going to have to train the Iraqi Air Force, for example, and do some of that. But as far as active combat involvement is concerned, I think we're going to be out of there. I think that's a commitment that we've made.
Would we be fighting these two wars any differently if you were president now?
Not now, but it's very obvious that for at least 3 years we conducted the war in Iraq in the wrong fashion, and we paid a very heavy price in American blood and treasure, and we developed a strategy that worked. That strategy is adopted to the different conditions in Afghanistan. And what has emerged, George, which I think we haven't appreciated maybe as much as we should, is that we have a group of leaders, both at the officer and non-commissioned officer level, that is unbelievably good. I ran into a colonel in Iraq that was there for his sixth tour of duty, because he wanted to be back there. I mean, it's amazing.
That's putting a huge strain on so many families.
It's put tremendous strain on families. It has caused tragedies and loss that grieves us and brings tears to our eyes. But they have succeeded, and they are so good. They are incredibly good, professional, skilled, and they believe in what they're doing.
And you believe that President Obama is giving those troops the support they need?
I think the decision on resources, which is coming up, will determine that. I know that President Obama made those statements about how important this conflict was during the campaign, and I do have confidence that he'll make the right decisions.
One more foreign policy question. You were in Libya last week with Colonel Gaddafi. You tweeted, said it was an interesting meeting at his ranch with an interesting man, yet we see today the Lockerbie bomber returns to hero's welcome. Did you talk to the colonel about that?
Yes. We said that we thought it would be a grave mistake to give that individual a hero's welcome, and I think most Americans condemn the decision of the Scottish judiciary to let him loose. I would point out that Colonel Gaddafi and his regime, which is very dictatorial and totalitarian in every way and very cruel, did reverse their position on weapons of mass destruction. Now, there's still further steps that need to be taken, but he's basically agreed to dismantle his nuclear efforts. If Ahmadinejad did that tomorrow, I'd be glad to sit down and talk with Ahmadinejad. So he has at least reversed the path that they were on, which was that they were going to acquire nuclear weapons.
While you were gone, the health care debate has erupted here at home. This week,